What's up, guys? We are in the Tacoma and we're on the freeway going about, let's say 40. There's like medium traffic, but this is it. This truck is officially as quiet as a luxury car. I did a before and after sound decibel reading, and this is 1.8 dBs quieter than my wife's 2014 BMW 328i. Obviously, those European cars are sound deadened pretty well from the factory. This truck, though, I mean, when I got into it, there is no sound deadening in it at all. The floor has some sound deadening materials on it. The doors have like a little bit. If you watch my other videos, which this is just the final video kind of recapping everything on the whole entire project, but I wanted to film this video in the truck so you can hear what I hear. I noticed the difference in sound, and I wanted to go over what we spent on this project. So I got a little cheat sheet here, and we're going to just read off the top. So the total amount I spent on sound deadening materials was around $1,400. That's all the Dynaliner, all of the Dynamat, the rollers, the Butyl Rope, speaker baffles, all that stuff, just materials. I spent around $900 on an audio upgrade. So that is front component speakers, where there is a mid and a high with a crossover that filters it out. Rear speakers, 2 8-inch image dynamics speakers in a custom subwoofer box, add an amp harness to the factory radio, a harness to power the wires for the front door speakers and the rear subwoofers to the Pioneer amp, which I added. So we've got 100 watts each on each front door with the component speakers, and 300 watts on the rear subwoofers that are wired together as one. So that's around $2,300 total in materials that I spent on the sound deadening and audio project. I did them at the same time, so I'm putting these numbers together as a total of $2,300. If you only want to do your sound deadening materials, we're going to go over the quantities of materials that I use. I did 104 logged hours of labor. So I logged every hour I worked. I didn't log setup or cleaning after the days. And speaking of days, that was 23 days. So over 23 days, 104 hours of labor were spent. Some people say you can do it faster. Of course you can. I took my time. I rolled every single inch of sound deadening material with the roller. There's not one piece of sound deadening that wasn't pressed firmly onto the metal. If you're not pressing it firmly onto the metal, you're wasting money, you're wasting time. 100 square foot of Dynamat Xtreme sound deadening material was used, and you have to match that up with 100 square foot of Dynaliner that covered that material. So 200 square foot of sound deadening material. Approximately 66 square foot was used on the cab, which was the floor, back wall, roof, B and C pillars. And approximately 34 square foot was used on the doors, inner skin and outer skin on all 4 doors, plus a little bit on the door panels themselves. So that equated to 4 rolls of 1/8 inch Dynaliner, 4 rolls of 1/4 inch Dynaliner, 1 roll of 1/2 inch Dynaliner, and those were spread out in different sizes in different areas of the project. I went over all of that in all of the videos, so if you have any questions, you can ask in the comments, or you can watch the videos and see where I use the different thicknesses. But I could just give you a quick recap. 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch in the cab, 1/8 inch on the doors. 1/8 inch was purely on the doors, and then 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch were spread out among the cab in different areas of the project. So the decibel reading, we used the NIOSH app. That thing recorded 78.9 on the initial reading with the stock cab, no sound deadening, running 35-inch KM3s. After all of the sound deadening and also installing the TSB door seals for wind noise and adding the 3rd gen seal between the front and rear doors, that dropped my sound levels down to 74.1. So in total, we have a 4.8 decibel drop inside of the cab. Another thing to note, besides all of that, is the sound deadening materials are a thermal barrier. They act as a thermal barrier. So aside from the benefits of reducing noise, this is going to keep heat out of the cab in the summer, and in the winter it's also going to help keep heat in when you have the AC on. So it works either way. You know, in the summer it's going to keep heat out, and it'll help keep the cab cooler and tax your AC system less, and then in the winter it's going to help keep the cold out and you know, tax the heater system less because it's just absorbing everything inside. But I've already noticed a difference, and I feel like it was money well spent. Obviously the labor hours were incredible, and a lot of people don't want to keep a truck down for weeks at a time, which I did, and it's totally understandable. But you can do this in small batches. The doors, you can totally do one door at a time without any problems. The back cab you can definitely do in like a day if you're rushing it, or 2, and you know, even keep it apart for a week and you can drive around like that. That's not a problem. The only thing that really starts getting the truck disabled and undrivable is doing the floor and the roof, because you're just taking everything apart. I guess if you really planned for it, and if you really truly set a lot of time to the side to do the floor and the roof, I would say maybe 2 or 3 days. And this is doing it right. Anyone could do this quicker and cheaper and faster, but it won't be as good of a job. Aside from that, I'm just trying to think of everything off the top of my head so I can give you as much information that I learned doing this project. Aside from that, you need to be sure to use the CCF, which is the closed cell foam. That is the Dynaliner in this project. If you're not using that and you're only putting down a butyl mass first layer, it's not gonna do you much. You're gonna do a whole bunch of work and be very unhappy with the final outcome of your project. You've got to do both layers. You could even do MLV, which is a mass loaded vinyl, after the CCF. I opted not to do that because I didn't want the added weight, and Dynaliner doesn't use it with their product line. They only have the 2 layers. Other brands are using MLV with their product line, so I kept it Dynamat, USA made. They're the pioneers in the industry for sound deadening. You can't go wrong. So a lot of people were assuming that I added a ton of weight to this, which I really didn't. Dynamat and really any sound deadening material, you know, let's say 10 years ago, was asphalt based, and that stuff was heavy, smelly, and kind of unpredictable. Sometimes it delaminated from the surfaces you put it on. But the material we're using today is butyl, which is it's almost like a tar-like substance, but it's light. And then you know, I think we're like at 32 or 36 mil. I'm not sure. I have to double check on the Dynamat Xtreme. There's brands on Amazon selling, you know, 50 mil, 80 mil, and from all the research I did, the thicker you go, the better. But if the material is not good, you can have a thin material like Dynamat with good properties in it, quieter than a twice the thickness material with junk properties. So think about that when you're planning out your budget for this project. What do you want to spend? What's recommended for that budget? And make it work. You don't always have to go all out. I hear good things about Silas and Noiko. They're all over YouTube as well. But again, just kind of going back to it, I just wanted to keep it with a brand that I've known of for a long time, and I'm comfortable with spending, you know, $1,400 on, and also putting in my truck. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this project. We only added, let's call it 60 pounds total in Dynamat and Dynaliner, and that is with one Xtreme mega pack and one bulk pack. I think with the Xtreme mega pack I had 3/4 of one sheet left over, and with the bulk pack I had almost the same. I had about 3/4 of one more sheet left over, and those are, the Xtreme mega pack is 72 square foot and the bulk pack is 36 square foot, so it's half of it. Oh yeah, one last thing. The mega pack is one flat, huge sheet of material with no wrinkles, no folds, which I liked. I really enjoyed that because it makes things easier to cut and lay out and roll out. The bulk pack is a thinner strip of material, and they roll it and fold it in about 2 places, so it's in a smaller box to ship. But then you have to lay it out and it's wrinkled, and once that aluminum is wrinkled, there's no going back. So I used it in the doors. You're never gonna see it, but I was able to use the mega pack sheets on the roof, and that thing is one large smooth sheet of metal, and it was really nice to just get it nice and flat. Had I used the bulk pack sheets, it would not have looked as good. But that's just nitpicking really, because you're not even going to see that when you put the closed cell foam layer on top of that. So just keep all that in mind. But I'm going to link everything that I use in the description below. You're always more than welcome to ask questions, but that was one huge project that I am glad is over with. I think the last giant project I had like that was the 2-month-long rock light install, which I did way before I started my YouTube channel, so that's kind of a bummer, but maybe I'll revisit it and kind of just walk around and show everyone how I did that. But anyways, like, subscribe, share, comment, all of this stuff helps a growing channel. And if there's any other questions you have on the project, let me know. I'm also available on Instagram at Taco Supreme with 4 underscores. You can send me a message on there and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can.